to the garage. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please go ahead, click on subscribe, and also click on that bell to receive all the updates and activities on my channel. Today we have a product review of some ice scratchers from Kenimoto. So full disclosure, Kenimoto reached out to me and says, hey, we've seen some other reviews of ice scratchers on your channel. We would like to send you these in exchange for a review. So Kenimoto did send these out to me free of charge, but they are not paying me for this review. If at the end of this review you like what you saw, check out the link in the description of this video, because it's actually going to bring you out to the seller's storefront, where there will be a 15% discount code that will knock these down to about 65 bucks before shipping. All right, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and review these scratchers. If you do look at them initially, they do look very similar to other scratchers that are currently available on the market. You have your stainless steel braided cable, you have your left and your right, and you have your hardware that goes through. But on the business end, where you would see a traditional single point of contact, these have essentially what I'll call a little snow rake, and they have 3 points of contact, and basically this piece of steel is held on by a ring that is trapped within the body, and then there's a U-bolt, and then it's held on by some nylock nuts, right? And so the way this is designed is you can rotate the rake or the claw, whatever you want, so you get good contact and ground pressure as you're going by. So one difference is, these are just steel. The other ones that you do see in the market, they're carbide tipped. So I'm not sure what we're going to get as far as life out of them, but we'll see. But there are 3 points of contact, so we'll see what we get for life. So I have a feeling that it won't be that bad as long as you ride primarily on the snow. If you do a lot of road riding, a lot of road crossings, you're probably going to see a little bit more wear than you would see on the carbides. But, if you are doing road riding, and you should probably just pick the scratchers up and put them up in the tuck position when you're not using them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install these. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up on the trail and try them out for 2 or 3 days. And then we'll check the wear after the trip and see how we did. All right, so as far as install, what you're going to want to do is you want to find a section on your rail that's going to kind of put the scratcher in the middle. You don't want it too forward, you don't want it too far back. You want it kind of in the middle and free of obstructions. So what we're doing is we're using this hole right here. And again, it's going to be different on your particular application. You're going to take your bolt, pass it through the hole. All right. Put on your star washer. What you want to do now is put some red Loctite on it. So go ahead and clean the bolt before you put it on there. Make sure you have no oils or anything on there that would compromise with the bond. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get it started. All right, we're gonna put it in the rough position that we want. So before you torque it down, make sure you get into the position that you want. Typically, I have the curve of it going straight up and down. So go ahead and tighten it down. There is no torque spec on the instructions. Just snug it down nice and tight. What I've done, this is completely optional. It's not mentioned in the instructions, but I've had these things back out in the past, and what I'm doing to prevent this is I've drilled a hole through the body of the scratcher, and I've gone through the bolt. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert a cotter pin through there, and essentially it's going to prevent that bolt from backing out, and go from there. All right, so again, this is completely optional. If you want to do it on your own, it's up to you. I would recommend it. It's not specific to this particular manufacturer, but this type of style of scratcher will have a tendency to back out. So this is an extra step that will prevent it from happening. So at this point, all you really need to do is set the position of the claw, the rake, the scratcher, whatever you want to call it, and just loosen up the 13mm nuts, spin it around, tighten it up. And what you want to do is you got to envision it when this thing is pulled back, that's making contact, all right? And so once you do that, you should be good to go. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're getting ready to go on the family trip. We're gonna be snowmobiling up in New Hampshire for about the better part of 4 days. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put some miles on them, and we'll evaluate how they worked and how they wore after 4 days. You know, on the tips and everything, and essentially everything else about them. All right, so we'll post some footage on it, and we'll give a conclusion once we're done. So we just finished up the family vacation. We were up in northern New Hampshire for about 4 or 5 days. So the Axys got about 300 miles on it. So pretty good test on these scratchers. So they perform pretty well. This sled normally runs around 126 degrees, and with the scratchers, it never deviated from any of that. They do kick up a pretty good spray. Plenty of cooling. The skid was actually full of snow and ice after 4 or 5 days, and this is what it kind of looks like after sitting in the trailer for about 3 or 4 days, kind of melting away. But they worked well. So a couple things to look at. That's what the claw looks like after about 300 miles. There is a little bit of wear on them, but and just a note, we primarily crossed 2 or 3 roads over the course of 4 days, and that was just going across it, not riding along with it. So the little bit of wear on one of the claws, but all in all, not too much. One thing I am kind of surprised about is, even though the cable is stainless steel, whatever they're using for fittings and the recoating, it's not good enough. they're starting to rust. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I've already let the manufacturer know, so hopefully they can improve the product and just work on a different coating. But yeah, so they do work. They work pretty well, and we'll go from there. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments box. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you want to purchase these scratchers on your own, there will be a link in the description that will bring you out to the seller storefront on Amazon. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good day. See ya.